What's up, ladies and non-ladies? It is Cerealkiler back again, this time with a video for the first new style Hall of Heroes. This is going to be the Bark Hall of Heroes. Not super interested in the Bark himself, but his blue brother and his black brother are both very excellent. 100% you should be farming this Hall of Heroes, trying to get all 5 skill ups if you can. Now, I'm not super pleased about the restriction to 5 skill ups, but it does have kind of its advantages. I'll probably talk more about that as the video goes on while this thing plays around in the background. Just a quick note, I realized you can actually get 10 skill ups from each of the Hall of Heroes if you're willing to spend 10,000 guild points to do it. They changed the Almighty Scrolls so that you can use 25 Almighty pieces to finish out a summon. So if you wanted to, you can buy 25 pieces of Almighty Scrolls for 1,000 guild points. You get 5 for 200 each. You could clear the first floor of the Hall of Heroes and then use 25 Almighty Scrolls and summon a Devilmon. Then you could clear 2, use 25 more Almighty Scrolls, and summon another one. You could do that all the way through and you'll end up with 10 skill ups. Now, that's insanely expensive. It might still be worth it for a monster that you were literally going to use Devilmon for. If it's just the monster where it would be convenient to get the skill ups, I would not spend it. If it was for, say, a Chasun, where you were literally going to put a real Devilmon into the Chasun if you don't get this skill up, I would use that. I would spend 1,000 guild points on a Devilmon for a Chasun level monster, hands down, every time. I'd probably spend twice that if that's what it costs. Devilmon are insanely rare. I'm going to keep that in mind. I might start hoarding guild points just in case they release a Hall of Heroes that is super necessary for me. My Galleon is almost fully skilled already. I do have a second Galleon that I haven't built because I couldn't skill him up and I didn't want to Devilmon him. I might play around with that a little bit. I won't know, I guess, until it happens, but as of right now, I'm going to get my 5 skill ups from here and then save them for the future. I do not think I need this one enough, nor do I even have the guild points in storage anyway to use the Almighty Scroll trick to get, more than 5 out of this. Now, the main thing everyone is complaining about is the lack of only being able to get 5 or 10 if you use the sneaky expensive Guild War trick that I told you about. But there are 2 other very important factors and changes in the new Hall of Heroes format. The first one is simple, so we'll talk about it first, and that's convenience. The old Hall of Heroes, I would go out of my way to keep my phone active, running in my pocket if I was out doing something as, basically constantly as possible, which was terrible. I could usually get somewhere between 10 to 15-ish skill ups depending on how difficult the Hall of Heroes was and how much uptime I had, which was a nice take on skill ups, but it was really a pain in the ass. It was not what I would call fun. Now my entire Hall of Heroes adventure took an hour and a half or so. Not a big deal at all. So from convenience standpoint, it is awesome. It took a fairly unenjoyable portion of this game and it shrunk it into a 90-minute adventure. So we'll go ahead and call that one a pro. The next aspect is difficulty. Now, I honestly think the old B3 floors are probably equivalent to about the B8-ish floors of the new format. And at first glance, that sounds like, holy shit, this new Hall of Heroes is way harder than the old one. And that's a yes and a no. I think for someone to have a team that can reliably farm the old B3 Hall of Heroes style is way harder than to be able to complete all 10 floors of this. I think the difference is the fact that your old Hall of Heroes team basically had to be automatic and it had to be fairly reliable and repeatable because you had to do it 40 billion times. This you only have to do each floor 10 times, so you can go about it a very different way. You can manually control it, you don't have to rely on the AI doing stupid crap, and you don't have to do it 40 billion times, which I guess is really what lets you manually control it. Now, I went in on floor 1 and basically just stuck, 5 Julie, Lucian, super nukers in there and just wanted to see what it would do. And that lasted until I think floor 4. On B4, a couple of them died, and I'm like, oh shit, that was probably more than I expected. So right there, I switched gears a little bit, popped in a team full of defense and hit point based bruisers, and plowed through, I think up to B7 is where I had a couple people die on that one. In B8, I switched to my normal Hall of Heroes B3 team with Zinc and company, and it actually looked, fairly sketchy. They got through it, but it looked scary enough at 8 where I don't think my old B3 or my standard B3 team would do very great in B9 or 10. So at the end of that one, I switched to my Standard Gildong ToA team and just manualed my way through 9 and 10, and it was super, super beautiful. If you've got a ToA hard team, I highly suggest just bringing that team into here and just manually controlling your way through it. Wave 9 took like 11 minutes, and Wave 10 is probably going to take 12 or 13 or whatever, but it is so simple and reliable that in my mind is 100% the way to do it. Now obviously if you've got 4 Teshars and Galleon and they can just blast through this in 3 minutes, then yes, that's the way you do it. At the same time, no one listening to me probably has that. And if you do have that, awesome for you, but that does not apply to most of us. I did record all 10 waves. If any of you have any questions about any of the specifics, I can go back and look at that or post any of it that you wanted to see. I just didn't think for the most part you guys needed to see, Julie digging her way through the first 5 or, Zinc doing it for the next couple. So I figured I'd just start here. And this is actually a really good wave to kind of catch up to the actual action in the background, because this wave gave me a very, very real respect for these dark pirate captains. This wave was brutal when I'm watching my regular Hall of Heroes team do it on, I think B8 was the last one I ran them through it. These stupid guys go and they reset all the cooldowns, and then the Amarna has their AoE heal and a revive and a dispel, and it was a mess. With the AI just doing whatever they want to, it took quite a while to churn my way through this level. This level is probably the hardest floor in it. If it's not that last level we just looked at, this is the hardest floor in it. Honestly, waves 1, 2, and 3 are not so bad. Wave 6, not bad at all. Definitely either 4 or 5 is going to be your problem areas, at least if you're running a, just kind of punch you in the face, DPS based team. If you're using a nicely tuned ToA hard team, you're just going to shit all over these guys just like everything else. These 5 people that we're using right here have a few substitutions where you could move stuff around. But any team that emulates, the functionality of this team, they'll fight, 50,000 light pirate captains. I don't give a shit. If they don't have a Leo or a Ragdoll or a Jultan or an Akroma, we don't care. We're just going to stun them all, load up dots, kill them. They're not going to move. These guys could have 40 billion life and do 40 billion damage, and they still have basically 0 chance of killing us. Now, that's actually another thing to bring up as far as comparing this to ToA hard. These guys are really, really fast, like omega fast. I'm surprised how full everyone's life bar is when you zone into these things. They are right behind my ToA hard team, which is, it's faster than the monsters in ToA hard. 2 big distinctions though: they don't do anywhere near the amount of damage as monsters on ToA hard, even way up in the high 90s, and they also don't have nearly as much hit points and defense. These things are way squishier and way weaker. All they are is really, really, really fast. So if you just go in here with a regular face punching team, prepare to get lapped, especially on the floors with like the dark pirates and stuff. And then everyone in here, or pretty much everyone in here, has an armor break. There's a lot of nasty stuff going on if you let them kind of have your way with you. But if you go in here, I mean, you look at them, like nothing's happening. Occasionally, something will get to move into like a taunted basalt or a taunted Mav, and it does absolutely nothing. It probably is also attack broken. Realistically, most of the enemy turns are just wasted on stuns. And it's also quite nice that they let us dot up the bosses in HoH Heroes. You can also sleep them. That doesn't really have any effect on this particular team, but it is good to know depending if you use some sort of variation that has a sleep. Think about the only thing that I ever run here that has a sleep is Nikki, and she's always nice enough to just fucking hit it again after she puts something to sleep, which doesn't really do a whole lot of good for us on auto, but she is the reason that I actually found out you could sleep these HoH Heroes bosses. And I think one more turn on this bark is going to end him, and then we'll just face punch this galleon to death. Maybe get an armor break on the galleon would be nice. Load up some more dots. Man, I love being able to dot bosses. Can you imagine if we could dot bosses in ToA hard? That would be beautiful. I should have armor broken the galleon there. That was probably a waste, but it's okay. I think our guys will manage. Pretty sure my Spectra did more damage to himself than the rest of the HoH Heroes enemies did combined. Like nothing happens when you go at this thing with Gildong and friends. About to wrap this thing up. I will show you these. There you go, 12 minutes. That's not bad at all. I will show you the runes used on all of these guys, and then after that, let's kick over to a guild war. I'm like right on the fence of building a Delphoi. I really like Delphoi's skill set. I've been kind of stingy with 6-starring monsters lately, so I really want to find a use for her, something she'll do that no one else can, and I'm gonna build her. So I've been trying to utilize her, and I just haven't come up with that need yet. I've been using Tractor as a 5-star for a while, and I fought a war a couple days ago, and I was tanking a Wind Monkey and something else, and I won the war, but Tractor died toward the end, and it went so beautifully that right there decided that Tractor deserved a 6-starring, so I 6-starred him a couple days ago. Well, it looks fairly obvious where we need to start in this war. There's everyone's like almost dead except 2 dudes at the end that are super full. So this guy, this'll let us play around with that Delphoi. So yeah, I like that first team and that second team. I've got like the only basalt on the server that's on will runes, and people don't will rune the fire monkey, so we'll kill those 2. If their Wusa is will runed, it won't die, and I don't care. I'll 3v1 it to death, no problem. So let's see if we can make Delphoi make some action. Now, as you've seen before, I run double will on my Randy, and then I loved that so much I started doing it on my Emma, and I loved that so much I did it for my Delphoi as well. So we got the Mind Blast off. Let's see if we can get an armor break and then a violent proc. He's dead. Give me a violent. No violent. Fuck you. Let's get a glancing on him. And let's throw some more immunity up. And that'll buy us a couple more turns. Chasoon, I hate you. Give me a violent proc. Apparently I forgot to equip violent runes to my Theomars. Alright. Theomar's dead. Should be 1 at this point. Very, very happy with how that went. Which one of them do I reset? I can screw with Chasun's heals, or I can screw with his stuns. Now my, oh, what the hell just happened there? So apparently my computer decided that you guys didn't want to see that, but the Theo got a violent proc, killed the Veramos, and then I 3v1 that Chasun down, and was pleased enough with Delphoi's performance that I went ahead and popped out of the Guild War, 6-starter, and then popped back in right now. And now we're looking at that other green bar enemy, who I also want to use Delphoi for, but I do not want to use a level 1 Delphoi, so I will once again be right back. Now here we are. I threw my Delphoi through a couple Feynman levels and got her to 20, and then decided that's going to be good enough for now. Might be a little risky on that last one we were looking at, the green bar, so we're going to do him third, because if Delphoi decides to suicide herself here, I can do that one another way if need be. But I would like to use the Delphoi as much as possible, so we are going to use her here. I think this top team will be pretty safe. It's a really weird fight. All three of those monsters are great monsters, the Fire Panda, the Basalt, and the Ravidi, but I don't think they work super great together, so I'm not expecting this one to be a problem, which could be a big problem, so we'll see what they do. I'm expecting to win this one. I think every time Theomar's violent procs, I'm going to kill someone. So I kind of had a lot of options here. I think I'm going to reset the Ravidi just to pull the cleanse out of the picture, because I want to get an armor break on something and then kill it the next time Theo gets a turn. Holy shit, that Ravidi is squishy. I wonder if that's a defense, crit damage, defense Ravidi, which is what I've been considering doing with mine once I pulled it out of raids. Either that, or it's someone... that guy was really squishy too. What is going on here? I wonder if this whole team is just full yellow, or if this round doesn't have runes or something. My Theo doesn't hit that hard, and he just evaporated those two people. So something's going on with this guy's rune set. Looks like the panda has regular runes on him, so we'll see what goes on in the next round. I don't think it'll matter. I think he can have all the runes in the world or none of them, and Dozer and company are going to do exactly the same thing. These three right here are pretty blatantly my favorite Guild War team. They are pretty immortal against anything that doesn't have a stripper, so you have to be cautious what you take them against, but when you find a team that it works against, it's basically a guaranteed win. In a very rare circumstance, you'll take a loss somewhere, but it's almost a guaranteed win with no casualties, which is what I like, because if you lose a very important unit in a Guild War, it can wreak havoc on the following swords. So let's find that first guy, the one we were looking at with the, I don't even remember what he had. There we go. That first round looks like very tasty Delphoi food, and the second round is a team people use a lot in, I guess it would be like Conqueror 3 level Guild Wars. On paper, it's a pretty decent team, and when I was really new to the game, it would cause me problems. I don't like Veramos, Bella, Verde anymore. The whole team is way too easy to one-shot. None of those monsters ever have will runes. For whatever reason, I'm like the only dude on the server with a will rune Veramos, which I love, by the way, but I guess, as you guys already know, I'm kind of a will rune whore. I will rune everything. But no one will runes their Veramos, no one will runes their Bella, and aside from no one will runing a Verde, you just straight up don't need it. Verdes are too squishy. You can kill them without an armor break. So I'm not a huge fan of that bottom team. We'll just blow it up with Julie. I really like this top team. I think it's a pretty good team just in and of itself, and B, it's going to be perfect for screwing around with this Delphoi. So I think I'm going to, well, I guess this is pretty obvious. I should just try to reset him, which didn't work. Thank you for that. She took her 6-star and then decided to just call it in the rest of the Guild War. She's just going to phone it in for me. Delphoi? Alright, we'll throw some immunity up, and hopefully we can proc this Endure, which, okay, we don't even proc the Endure by like a hit point. This is not going quite as well as our first adventure. Luckily, they are getting very little done as well. There's our Endure. Let's put a Glancing on her, which we failed to do. Let's reset the Brian, because that Theomars... Yeah, the Theomars is going to go. I think his Theomars is faster than mine. So his Theomars is going to go, then my Theomars is going to go before their aerial goes. So their Theomars is dead. As long as, you know, my whole team isn't also dead, I'll be happy with that. Oh, my Theomars went in front. So we're going to armor break this guy. And Ariel is going to heal his ass back up. Ooh, Ariel's going to attack. So let's finish off this guy. Oh, you're dead too. 2-for-1 special. Alright, now we just have to land an armor break on this Ariel, and he is dead. Maybe a violent proc? No. We'll reset him. Fucking no. Glancing? No. Slow? No. Why even bother? This Ariel is apparently triple Endure with fucking resistance on slot 6. The undebuffable Ariel. This is half Ariel, half a Chroma. I'll laugh if I kill this fucker without getting an armor break on him. Actually, I don't know if I can kill him without getting an armor break on him. Eventually, I'll get an armor break on him. Considering resetting him, but he just used one of his heals. Fuck it. I want to reset him. Didn't get that either. Jesus. Alright, so didn't get the strip. And he's back to full. So this might take an hour and a half. We'll see how this goes. I think as soon as I get an armor break on him, he should be dunsies. And maybe it'll be right now. Not today. We're going to have to relook at these guys' accuracy. I know my Emma, I just put a bunch of accuracy on her because I didn't like her low. She's got a solid like 50% or so. The Delphoi I think is a little bit lower than that. And my Theo has 0.0 accuracy. So, come on, Theo. Make it happen. Give me an armor break. Give me a violent proc. And let him die. There's my armor break. Yeah, it didn't work anyway. Fuck it. You're dead. Thank you. Nice. So, that is, I think we used Delphoi in all 3. Yeah, we used Delphoi in all 3. So, that went out very well. And if you're going to copy this team, don't hit the Verde until you're going to kill the Verde. My Galleon just got 2 violent procs. I hit the Bella once, and then the Veramos once. If you hit the Bella, and the Bella revenges, not the end of the world. If you hit the Veramos, and the Veramos revenges, not the end of the world. If you hit the Verde, and the Verde revenges, and pushes their Veramos forward, and stuns your whole team, then you die, and then they laugh at you. So don't hit the Verde until you're ready to kill it. Now I think I'm going to go finish leveling my Delphoi. Tractor was leveling himself, and now I'm going to stick Delphoi in here and steal some of his experience. Might as well show you the Delphoi runes before I pop out of here. You guys probably don't want to watch me level my Delphoi for an hour and a half, so I will go ahead and call this one right about now. As always, thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Let me know what you thought in the comments. And if you did enjoy it, I would appreciate you taking the time to hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much. Have a good one.